Good afternoon or good morning, whatever time that you are here in this recording. My name is David J. Tsosie, and I'm a member of the Diné Nation, Navajo Nation, and I belong to the Kahinani Torichini. They're like the the Living Arrow people of the Bitterwater clan. And then my father, he was a member of the Tsosie clan. And then my maternal grandfather is Tachini. And then my paternal grandfather is Dikiaani. And I originally um, lived over in a community called Jedito. But because of the relocation program that was implemented by the federal government based on the law that was passed in 1974, my wife and we eventually relocated over into Sanders, Nahatatzi, and that's where we're currently living at. And we've been living here for the last 5, 6 years, and we enjoy the community that we've relocated into. It's nice and quiet. And I just wanted to share some of my perspective and understanding with regards to the indigenous people, being that this is an Indigenous Day celebration taking the place of Columbus. And I've always believed that as Indian people that we are truly unique in many ways, and that we had a way of life, each individual tribes throughout the Western Hemisphere had a language and a culture and a way of life based on their understanding of their environment. You know, way back in 1492, when the Indians discovered Columbus, Columbus was lost out there drifting around. And then he came up on the land, and the Indian people were the one that took notice, and they probably saved his life. So they were the Indian people were the one that discovered Columbus. And from 1492 and then up to when the Spaniards came back in 1520, right about that area. Uh, we had, as I said, we had people living in this area that had their language, their culture, their land, and a way of life. And so this way of life probably is uh, present in all of the native people. And that's living a holistic way of life, living a holistic way of life. That's where we consider everything to be sacred. The land, our mother, the earth, our father, the sky, our father, the sun, our mother, the moon, and the four sacred directions, the cardinal directions, east, south, west, and north. And we honored and respected all living things under a holistic way of life. We believe that everything, that there's a spirit that lives in just about everything that's on this earth. All the animal people, the bird people, the water people, they all have a spirit. And so they're all a living representation of the Great Spirit's creation. So, and it's been about close to 528 years since Columbus came over. And within that period of time, um, there's all different nationalities that came over into this country. The European people, how they came onto the land from the east, and then also the Spaniards from the south, and then the Russian and others from the north. They eventually went down into the western part of the country. And so, and we had our language, our land, and our children. But it seemed like over time, all those were taken. Our land, we were moved to reservation, and then the federal government implemented the boarding school, took a lot of our children and taught them their ways. And then also how within the last maybe 50 years, there's beginning to be a real interest in the culture of the Indian people, our spiritual ways. And so that's probably the last thing that we have, our spiritual way of life. And I believe that it's something that we need to guard safely and keep for our children and our grandchildren so that it can help them in the future. And so, and I believe that the fact that we're still here after 528 years, it shows that we are resilient people, and that we will continue as a unique group of people far into the future, maybe another 1,000, couple thousand, 3,000 years into the future. But what is most important is that we rekindle a lot of our I guess holistic way of life. What made us unique? The different ceremonies that we had, and the different understanding as to how we relate to nature. We need to rekindle that as Native people. And with the pandemic in our midst, it's come to help us realize, and I believe that there's a realization process that's currently happening, and that realization experiences that we're seeing, it kind of reminds us a lot, us as Native people, um, what our ancestors have encountered in the past. This is not the first pandemic that we're experiencing. We've seen the Spanish flu come among our people way back in 1918. And our elderlies, they still talk about that. And they say that it was one of the most dreadful illness that ever came upon our people as far as they can remember, back in 1918. And there were a lot of people that whose lives were taken by that dreaded disease. But in the midst of all that, our people still continue to revert back and use some of our traditional ways, our prayers, protection songs, and the offering that they've made to the natural environment, the cosmic order. And so, but as a result of that, I think they came to some understanding with regards to what they need to do, and what was most important, which was maintaining harmony and balance within your life. And so, but from there on, there were other illness that came among our people, as well as some of the other Native people throughout the country, like the hantavirus back in the 80s, and Ebola, and other sickness that we've never heard of as Indian people. They came among us and impacted our way of life and took a lot of our relatives. But during these times that has come about, especially among the young people, the young people, they they approach us, my wife and I, and they ask us, okay, what are some of the herbs that our people used? And how do you go about collecting these herbs? What kind of prayers? Is there a special prayer that you have to offer in order to gather these herbs? So we try to share some of those knowledge with them. So there is sort of like a rekindling of the interest on the part of the young people with regards to the use of our herbs and our traditional ways. And so that's kind of unique in a sense that our young people are taking an interest. They're wanting to learn, and I believe that that's really good that that's happening. As Native people, we we have a way of life that's embedded with prayers, songs, and then there are also other teachings that we have. One of those is that among my people, the Navajo people, the Diné people, we call that ke. Ke is probably one of the most beautiful thing that we have as the Diné. And I'm pretty sure there's other Native people, other tribes that have a similar system. And it's the relationship that we have with our families, our relatives, and other people. Like I introduced myself being a member of the Living Arrow people of the Bitterwater clan. That's my clan. And those who are related to me are the Chisha clan, the Apache, the Cherokee Apache, and then the Betwani, the Deerwater, and then Totokonje, the saltwater people. Those are closely related to me. And then my father's clan is Totsoni. And then my maternal grandfather, Tachitni, and then my paternal grandfather, Kia'ani. So that's the clan system that we have. And within that, there are teachings like how to take care of one another, look out for one another, cherish the time that you spend together, and also to look out for those people that are less fortunate than you, and also always be there protecting the elders because they are the knowledge holders. And if it wasn't for them, then we wouldn't be here. And so those are the teachings of Ke. And then the relationship that we have through Ke with our natural environment, the natural environment that we have, like our earth, the earth is our mother, the sky is our father, the sun our father, the moon our mother, and then the cardinal directions, how we address them through what deity is present in those four directions. We call them either our grandfather, grandmother, and we address them like that. And so that's how we relate to one another. And we have a way of life as Indian people, and I did mention saying that there's a holistic way of life that we lived where we consider everything to be sacred, and that there's two spirits that exist in just about everything. There's a male spirit and a female spirit. And then even abstract concept like um, not ani or leadership. There's the male spirit and the female spirit. So, and then the whole idea of learning is also like that also too. There's the female spirit and the male spirit. So that's how we recognize everything. And so that's, and we honor them, we respect these. So that's a holistic way of life. And then we have a belief system as Native people. And like us, the net, we have many ceremonial ways, and those ceremonies are all um, a part of a health system that we have. And those ceremonies is to maintain harmony in our life, either physically or mentally. And so we're balanced. So those ceremonies are used for that purpose. But but the foundation of all these ceremonies is a ceremony that we call the beauty way ceremony. Our elders, they talk about this particular ceremony, saying that it's all for the purpose of striving for something that is good, something that is good, something that would enhance your life to live a balanced and harmonious life. And that's the ceremony that we have. And within that, it talks about nothing but good things in life, how we try to strive to live a good life and to share whatever that we have with other people. And so that's the belief system that we have. Um,
16 minutes.
and this belief system is like it's innate. We're born with it, and it goes back through generation, all the way back to maybe 500 years, 1,000 years. It's a belief system that our people believed in, how they interacted with nature, and how they try to maintain that balance and harmony in their life. So it's passed from one generation to another generation. Even up today, we still have that. It's innate. You might leave the reservation and go off and be away from the reservation for many years. But when you come back, you still have that connection. And even though you might have forgotten a lot of these things, but the fact that it's innate, there's that bond. And I've experienced that in my life. I went off the reservation for many years, pursuing my education. And when I was out there, I experienced loneliness, and I was sort of like disconnected. There was something missing in my life until I came back to the reservation and went back among my elders. Then I knew what that piece that was missing was. It was a lot of our traditional ways. And so I reconnected with that, and that's really been sort of like a blessing to me. So, and I know that it's something that we need to pass on to our children. We need to tell our children our way of life. It's important. Our language is important, our culture, and a lot of the beliefs that we have. We need to rekindle that and continue to move forward on with that. And so we still have a lot of sacred sites on many of our reservation. And those sacred sites, some of them ended up on land outside our reservation. Like in our case, the Diné people, San Francisco Peak is really a sacred mountain to us. A lot of our prayers and songs, it's all interwoven with uh, the peak, and it's a sacred place. So those sites need to be protected. Your sacred sites on your reservation or near your reservation needs to be protected, and you need to make that connection back to these sacred sites. And so we're a resilient people. We've been here since time immemorial. And we know that we're going to continue on as a nation, but we would like to still have with us our traditional ways, our culture, our language, our land, our children, and continue on into the future. And that's what I wanted to share with you. And again, I thank you for your attention and have a good day.
Greetings, everybody. Hello to all of you. I I am a member of the Diné people. I'm a member of the Navajo Nation, and today I'm talking to you from Sanders, Arizona. We live here on the Navajo Reservation. Uh, our home chapter is called NACP. So all you people that are attending this function, greetings. Some of you are from the east and the south and the west and the north, all the way around. I extend my greetings to you. Um, it is, as a Navajo person, it's an important protocol to always identify yourself. So with that, I am going to identify myself in my native language. She ya kia anit nenshle ahot a ebe ahasan ado shije ya lasche ado tsna jine da shichedo ashine da shanale. Maybe some of you are related to me in when I identified my four clans, maybe with. So with that, I greet you however way that we might be related. And you are attending this function, remembering the Indigenous Day, and that is wonderful. I'm gonna repeat some words that my husband always says. He always says, "I understand. I've read somewhere that it is important to know your culture before you begin to understand another culture." So I just want to tell you a little bit about the culture I know, and that's my culture, the Navajo culture. So um, as a Navajo person, I remember my grandmother always telling us, go outside. I mean, this is before even the sun really, right? As the sun was rising, or even before the sun came up. Said, go outside, go greet the deities out there. There are the deities, and offer a prayer. A lot of people would run, say, run and yell, um, build up your endurance. Even if it's snowing or raining, even if it's in the dead of winter, go do that. And there's a simple Navajo philosophy that I think many of us have lived by somewhere, in your life. Maybe it was your parents, or maybe it was your grandparents, or your aunt or your uncle, whoever, someone encouraged you and said, my dear child, get out there and live your life. Get out there and do all you can. You're going to live this life only one time. You're not going to have another opportunity to do it twice, just one time. So rely on yourself. No one else is going to do whatever for you. You're the one. You have to have that determination. You have to have that ability to get up and go. So that simple Navajo philosophy. Now, nowadays they call it Ahuichit El. I've even seen that on T-shirts. So it's a real good philosophy, that a simple philosophy that our people have lived by. And in the morning too, that morning prayer, they said, tell the deities what you want to do, what is it that you need help in? You know, when you really think about it, that is goal setting. So we Native people already had that. And when we got to school, we found out that they were calling it goal setting. So that was a nice discovery. You know, it's nice to know that we always had that. And so, I remember my mom and my dad said, always watch your words. Your tongue is holy. Don't cuss out a person, say really mean things, especially if you have gone through participating in a ceremony. There are different powers that are given to you, but they say your tongue is holy. Take care of it. It's going to take care of your mind too. So, so with that, our perspective as a Native person, we are really different. And nowadays, I see a lot of our children who have gone on to school. Many of them have adopted the Western society's value system. We're no longer our value system was different. So now we're just chasing that money. Uh, in our culture, you help out together. Like if a person is ill and they're going to have a ceremony, you go over there and you try to help, maybe physically help, do whatever chores that need to be done there, or you help out in some way, um, if with something tangible. That's what you do. But the main thing is everybody's helping each other. There's no one person going way ahead and succeeding and leaving everybody behind. So some of these value systems are, I noticed that it's no longer being practiced. But it's good to tell our children this is the way we were and this is the way we can be again. And like the way my husband indicated, um, we give importance to Mother Nature. We are related, like he said, the sun is our father and the moon is our mother, you know, Mother Earth. So every time we pray, we put our tadadin, our corn pollen on the earth, or we give an offering. So for we as the net people, we regard everything to be important, to have that it has a life. We don't really look at, you know, like if you go if you take a science class and they're telling you this is not alive, you know, and a lot of things that are tangible, and if they're not tangible, you know, you begin to think in that way. But in our culture, we regard everything to be holy. And one other thing that I want to mention is that the Navajo people, we still have some medicine people, some of the medicine, where there's a medicine man association, and they have a meeting. And I for one was really, I felt good. I was reassured when all of a sudden this pandemic came around, and they talked about it, and they had a Zoom session. So they talked about it and said, this is what I think it is. And this particular ceremony can take care of this. But a lot of it is that it seems to be that we're all so caught up in this Western society type of thinking, that we're just pursuing that almighty dollar, that certain times we didn't make offerings, like all the oil and gas companies. Do people really make offerings when all those monies are being sought for the oil to be drilled? Or so things like that. That's what the medicine people have said. We've violated the earth a lot, but now it's like saying, sure, everything coming to a stop, and remembering that we're here on earth, and we must realize that we have to abide by Mother Nature, and for all of this pandemic to leave. So I want to tell you that the Navajo medicine men more than one time conducted ceremonies, and it benefited the entire world. So I wish you well, and it's always great to be participating in various functions, especially one where there are a lot of time where people have an open mind and you get to touch a life. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this important function. Goodbye. What do we do?
Patricia, are you there?
Joel, are we finished?
Hi,
Is anybody home?
I'm right here.
So,
What happened with Dr. Gonzalez, though?
I'm here.
so we're finished, right? Okay, is there anything that we need to do?
Are we finished?